Good afternoon, everybody, and happy Friday. Welcome to Humane at Home. Thank you for joining us. I'm really excited to talk to you today about how to get your pet back safely home. We never want to be one of those people whose families lose their pets and we can't find them. So we're going to talk about lots of different ways that you can make sure that your pet gets back home to you. We have so many new devices that we can use on our phones, on our tags, that really ensure that your pet is going to find their way back to their family. I don't know if you know this, but 1 in 3 pets will get lost in their lifetime, and only 1 in 10 is going to make it back home. So we want to make sure that your pet is one that makes it back home. So this month we are partnering with Maddie's Fund. Big shout out to them for their No Place Like Home challenge. So we're going to be talking about all different things to get your pet back home: collars and ID tags, microchips, licensing, even facial recognition apps. There's so many cool things that you can do so that there are not any issues. So first, make sure that your pet has an updated tag. So you want to make sure their ID tag has their information on it. We need their name. We want your phone number so they can call you. So if your pet has this external tags on it, we're going to be talking about what each of these mean. We have our licensing tag, we have our microchip tag, and then if we have a tag with their actual information on it. That way, if someone finds your pet, they can just look at that tag and give you a call. So that makes it really simple. So here we go. We can introduce Stitch and show his tag. Stitch was going to be my model earlier, but he did not want to come out with me without Mom. So we'll have Mom. So Stitch is a great example of a doggy who has all his ID tags. So I'll let Mom show. So you can see on his tag, he has one of our licenses, which we're going to talk about later, and all its cool elements that come with it. Yes, it has a QR code, which is incredible. And then, just to be extra safe too, Miss Rebecca has a tag that just has his information on it. We don't want to get too close because we don't want to have everyone call Miss Rebecca. But if you find Stitch, please do call. So that tag right there is going to have Stitch's name and also his phone number, maybe even an address if you want to put it on there. So if a finder finds him and that tag is on there, he is going to avoid a trip to the shelter. He's going to go straight back to Rebecca, which is where we want him to be. And then he doesn't even have to come visit us, which is the best part. So Stitch, good job having all your ID tags. And did you know, everybody, that about 80% of pets are found within 1 mile of their home? So if he gets lost and has a tag, they can just call Rebecca. She can come get him. And no trip to the shelter, which is better for everybody, and especially Stitch. You didn't even want to spend time with me by myself. So thank you, Rebecca and Stitch. All right, we're going to head to our next stop, which I'm really excited about, and that is microchipping. So microchipping is a permanent form of ID. So the tag and the collar is great. That's one way that you should always have on there. But sometimes tags and collars fall off, don't they? So a microchip is going to be a permanent form of ID, and we're going to come check it out. If you maybe see it on the screen, a microchip is a tiny little thing. It's even smaller than a grain of rice, and it has its own internal energy. It's going to last the life of your right under their skin, and we're going to actually show that to you right now. So come on in here with us. Oh, hello. This is Nipsey, right? How old is Nipsey?
She's about 7 or 8, I think.
Oh my gosh, Nipsey is a very sweet girl who is available for adoption. And she says, I'm very excited to be a model. So if you think she's a really cute model, which she is, very sweet girl, she is looking for a home. So check out Nipsey on our website if you're interested. She's all ready for St. Pity's Day, as you can see, which is very exciting. And so thank you, guys. Thank you for coming. So Tara, why don't you tell us why a microchip is so important for our pets?
All right, microchipping is super important for our pets because if they get out, they get lost, maybe they get stolen, any way they're away from you, it's a way to quickly scan them, and they have a number that links back to a database that also is connected with your phone number and all of your information. So your address, phone number, sometimes you can include your vet clinics. And it's a way that we can quickly reunite pets with their parents.
Excellent, because like we were just talking about, collars fall off, ID tags fall off, microchip's not going to fall off. And she's going to show you exactly how it's done. It's very quick. We offer microchipping here at the Humane Society. $25. You can make an appointment at sdhumane.org. It is quick. You just drive up. We're going to give your pet a little shot, and then permanent ID that's going to help maybe get them back home. So let's give it a show. Do you want to show us what it looks like?
Yes, I'm going to show you exactly what the microchip
we all have our
looks
microchip
like.
scanners.
So
Nipsey's interested.
Nipsey's very interested.
Yes.
She's very interested in everything.
She's a sweet girl, aren't you?
So each microchip is going to come in this syringe. And it's basically just a little shot that's going to go right between the shoulder blades underneath the skin. And I will show you what the actual microchip itself looks like. So once we implant it, it is actually very, very tiny, about the size of a grain of rice, if not a little smaller. And that's going to go right underneath the skin. And I can show you with this one. We'll be able to take their scanner here, and we'll scan it, and it's going to give us the number that links back to this microchip. So if I scan Nipsey, she has a different number because she's been microchipped, and I'm going to show you exactly how we do it.
And that number, we can type it in our computer, and then it'll link back to the family. So the first thing we do when a stray animal comes into our shelter is microchip them. So if you have a microchip, we're going to be able to call you and say, hey, Nipsey's here, and she's really sad and misses you. Please come get her. If we don't have that microchip, we don't know who to call. So they go on our Lost Pets page, they go on a stray hold, but this is one way to ensure that you get that first phone call and your pet doesn't have to spend much time at the shelter. So please, please, please microchip. Oh my gosh, Nipsey says, I already got a microchip. What's happening?
She says, I'm ready to be the star.
That's right.
All right, so for our microchips, like I said, we're gonna go right in between the shoulder blades. It's probably the most universal place. So whether you're in California, Florida, wherever you are, most people will microchip here. So the way we do that is we do something called a skin tent. So we'll pull up her skin, make a little tent, and back here is the little door of the tent. We'll take our needle and syringe, we'll poke it into that tent, we'll give that microchip. I like to pinch the skin here when I pull back to make sure the microchip doesn't come back out. Does happen sometimes, so it's always a great idea after you've given the microchip to take this and scan and make sure that your chip number's in there.
Yay! So easy, just like scanning groceries at the grocery store.
Scanning groceries.
Look at that, I think you're priceless.
It doesn't do any harm, and it doesn't matter where you're at. Most vet clinics will have a universal scanner, so it doesn't have to be necessarily this brand. It will pick up any brand of microchip.
Oh, that's nice to know. So yeah, there are different brands of microchips, so depending on where you go, but they're all, like you said, that's great. It's a universal reader. Look at it. He says, and then I get lots of treats and snuggles. So it's just like any other shot that your pet might get, or you get. It's a little pinch, but it's done. And this is literally the best pinch you can give them because it's a lifetime of security, knowing that if your pet ends up in a shelter or anywhere, they're going to get back home. Do you know what Nipsey's really, she has to go get a bath. So maybe that's what she's thinking about right now.
She knows it's bath time.
It is bath time. But that's right, lots of snuggles and love. So if you're interested in Nipsey, please check out our website. She is a great dog and was specifically selected for this because she's so sweet and loves, just loves everybody. So thank you so much, both of you. We appreciate it. And thank you, Nipsey. You're adorable. So, oh, she's like, she wants to keep coming with us. So we'll go, there she's at. Okay, just want to make sure Nipsey's not escaping. So we'll head this way, Miss Lauren. Microchips are incredible. I don't know, we have had so many stories over the years of people being reunited with their pets, and it's just amazing. And it's after years. We've had 3 years. Oh, I think that's one of our wonderful volunteers. So we've had pets reunited after 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. It's really, really incredible. And these are pets who maybe were stolen or lost. One of my favorite stories, there was a Bengal cat who came in. So they're very unique, obviously. We scanned the cat and called the owner, and he started crying. And he said, oh my gosh, I lived in Arizona 5 years ago when I lost that cat. I now live in Oklahoma. So who knows how that Bengal cat ended up in San Diego, but thankfully she did and had that chip in there, and we were able to reunite them. He flew out here and drove home with this cat. So many great stories. I actually think we have a beautiful reunion video that Miss Jordan's going to share with us from last week. This was a dog who went missing 1 year ago, ended up at our El Cajon shelter, scanned and called, and you're going to see the beautiful reunion and how excited that dog was to see mom after 1 year. So let's take a look.
Oh my.
She looks so All right, thank you. So you can see how happy that dog was even after a year, recognized mom. So cool, we love those stories. And I'm gonna tell you the most important part of those success stories, whether it's 1 year, 7 years, is those people kept their microchip information up to date. So no matter that it had been 7 years, they made sure that their microchip information was up to date for that pet. So most important thing you can do, if you move, if you change your phone number, you have to update it with that microchip company, because we can scan and have an old number and then you're not going to be reunited, and that's not what we want. So microchipping is such a great way, permanent, make sure your pet gets back to you. Now we're going to visit with Miss Kristen, and come on over, and adorable Cheeto, who might steal the show here with that little underbite, but that's why he's here, right? So Kristen is our licensing supervisor. So we're going to talk about all the great reasons why you should license your pet. We have ID tags that we've talked about. We have microchips. Licensing is just another tool to help your pet get back home. So thank you. So why should we license our pets? And what does it mean to license your pet?
So when you license your pet, you get a really cool little tag. These are one of the things. They're very exciting looking.
That's all right. Just keep on going. That's all right.
And it's also really important to license them because it is the law in California. It's really important because of their rabies vaccine. Once a dog gets a rabies vaccine, it's time for them to get their license. So it's kind of a two-part. Once your dog is eligible to get his rabies, he can go ahead and get licensed.
Perfect. So yeah, so a license is going to be proof. So first of all, it's the law that you get a license for your pet. It's going to show proof of rabies, which is great. And then it also puts all this information into our system that will help if a humane law officer finds your pet or if another person finds your pet. So tell us about these. What I love is we have now partnered, hi Cheeto, with Pet Hub. So these are really, really cool. I'm going to let Kristen tell you about those.
Yeah, so Pet Hub is such a great company that we've been working with for about the past 2 years. And what I love about Pet Hub is you can kind of put all your information that you want someone to see in this little QR code. So if you live in a jurisdiction where you walk a couple doors down and your dog would go to Department of Animal Services instead of us, because there's a little QR code, if your neighbor Joe finds your dog wandering around, instead of him taking him to Department of Animal Services where he thinks he should be, he'll look up this QR code, that's the hope at least, and find Cheeto's information and my phone number and email. If he is diabetic or has seizures, I can put that in this little QR code as well. It holds a ton of information to help him get back home faster, but only the information you want someone to see.
That's what I love, is that so you control that information. She might say, well, I don't want someone to know my address or whatever, but you can decide. But I want them to have my cell phone number so I'm easily accessible if my pet gets found. And also what I think is really cool about this is the medical information. So if your dog is on medications or needs them for seizures or anything, we know that if they come to the shelter, so we'll be able to monitor that or get your pet home faster. And what is great about this, Cheeto, you are such a good model. I just love it. If you're like, I don't know what a QR code and my phone doesn't have that capability, what's really great about Pet Hub too is it has a 24/7 staffed phone number. So if you find this pet, you can call them. Well, you can call the pet, hello. And then you can also call the Pet Hub phone number and speak to a person 24/7 and say, hey, I found this pet. And you'll be able to give them the ID number, and they'll be able to look up the owner's information for you. So again, what's really great about these external ID forms is that they're visible to anybody who finds your pet. So the microchip is that extra special security if these fall off. Mm-hmm. But if I find Cheeto running around, I will be able to scan and I'll be able to call Kristen. I will be able to find all that information.
Oh, I almost forgot,
yes.
Stacey. So the other great thing about having your pet licensed, especially with us, if one of our humane law enforcement officer finds Cheeto running around, which is how he came to me in the first place.
But didn't have a microchip.
No
so
microchip. Yeah, I lucked out with this sweetie. They will give him a free ride home because he's got his license. So that saves you up to $150 a day, depending if your dog is spayed or neutered.
Oh, so yes, question.
How often do you have to renew your dog's license?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So you have to renew it either 1 year or every 3 years. It depends on how long your rabies vaccine is good for. You can choose, if you have a rabies vaccine that's good for 3 years, to just renew it for 1 year, and you just got to remember to renew it again the next year. So they're kind of intertwined. We can't give you a license that goes past when your rabies vaccine expires for your dog.
So those are good times to match up. So like when
Yeah.
you get your rabies vaccination from your vet, time to
Perfect
license. Yes, and then it's nice that 3 years is nice to have that just set for 3 years to not even have to think about it.
Yeah.
And it also is a reduced fee if you do
It is.
more years at one time.
It's super cheap
Yes.
in comparison. Yes.
And also she mentioned that altered pets, so if they're spayed or neutered, your licensing fee is less. So that's a great incentive. We want your pets spayed and neutered. And she was also talking about those reclaim fees. So if your pet comes here for a visit because they get out, there is a reclaim fee, but those reclaim fees are going to be lower if they are licensed. And again, they're going to get home faster if they're licensed because we know who to call. So that's what's really, really great about this.
Yeah.
And what's an interesting fact, and if I've said this again a bit before, I'm going to say it again. 80% of pets are found within a mile of their home. So you might have a pet found in Chula Vista and your closest shelter is us. So they're coming all the way up here 20 minutes away. And then you have to come all the way up here when if you had just had some external ID like this, the person could have called you, could have taken your pet back home, maybe even a few blocks away. So that's what's really great is you want to make sure you have all these systems in place so it's easy for your pet to return home and reduce the time that they're away from you, which is their whole goal, right?
Yeah, we do not want him in our shelter. We want him to be back with his family.
Yes, absolutely. And I think we got 15,000 stray animals in last year. So if they're microchipped, if they're licensed, if they have an ID tag, we're not going to get them all the way here. That's what's so great. People are going to send them home, or the officer, I love that, the free ride home program. It's like they got caught by the police and they're taken home. That'll be a cute ride. So I want to tell you, thank you so much, Kristen.
Of course.
And thank you, Cheeto. You're a really great model. We all. Yes, Cheeto was very happy to sign on for this. Excellent. Thank you so much, Kristen.
Have a good
Appreciate it.
day.
You too. And I want to tell you about one more way that your pet can get back home. And Kristen, are you turning off your mic for us? You got it? Thank you. There we go. She's going to go baby talk to Cheeto. We don't need to hear. So one more way that I want to tell you about is our Finding Rover app. I guess it's not our app, it's the Finding Rover app. But what's really cool about this is it's facial recognition. So you download the app on your phone, you upload your pet's picture. Again, you put what information you want in there. And with a person finds your pet and there's no ID, even though we know you're going to put ID on your pet and you're going to license them and you're going to microchip them. But if a person finds them, they can go onto the app and they will match your pet with facial recognition. I actually think we have a video that shows how that works, which is actually pretty cool. So as technology advances, so do our ways to get our pets home. So sorry if we had some technical difficulties. If you didn't get to see that video, you can go to findingrover.com. that tells all about their app and has a little explanation video. But also you can find it on your phone where you get your apps. So that's a really cool other way to make just another level of getting your pet back home safely where we want them to be. If you have lost a pet and maybe you didn't have all those things yet, sign up for them. But if you didn't have all those things yet, make sure that you call the shelter. Make sure that you check our Lost Pets page. It is updated every 15 minutes. So if we get your pet into the shelter, we will have their photo, an intake photo, so you can say, oh my gosh, they're there. So check your shelters. You can make a lost pet flyer. We have templates on our website, and walk the neighborhood. Those are things. So make sure that you are putting out those flyers, that you check our page, and then once you pick up your pet, we're going to say, hey, maybe you should microchip, and here's a way to license, and we'll give you some other great tools to do that. So we want to get your pets back home, and that's the way to do it. So we really, really, really want to thank Maddie's Fund. We challenge you in this No Place Like Home challenge to get all these things done. Make sure you have an ID tag on your pet. Make sure you license your pet. Check out sdhumane.org for information. Microchip your pet, $25 here at the shelter. Drive up, microchip. You saw how easy it was. Make an appointment at sdhumane.org. So that's where you want to go to get all these resources. This weekend is daylight savings, but we like to call it straylight savings, because if you have all these things, it's a great time to update the information and make sure it's correct. So you want to change your clocks, spring forward, right? You want to change the clocks, and then you want to check your smoke alarm batteries, and then also check your microchip, your licensing, your ID tags, make sure all that information is up to date, because it's not going to be any good if we call a wrong number or one that you don't have anymore. So please make sure you're doing those. We challenge you, if you aren't updating your information, to come and make an appointment online and get your license, get your microchip, and get all that set so your pet can get back safely, which is our goal here. So there is no place like home, and we want your pets at home with you. So thank you for joining us today. Next Wednesday, we'll have Lovejoy be painting one of our long-term adoptable pets. We still have Smokey, so if you're a regular viewer, Smokey is still waiting for a home. Nipsey would make a great addition to your home. And then next Friday, we have our virtual adoption event where you can see more amazing adoptable animals who are looking for homes. So No Place Like Home challenge. Please get your pets licensed, microchipped, updated ID tags, all that good stuff. And have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and enjoy the extra daylight.